Alright, just got back from seeing Guardians of the Galaxy. Did I like this movie? Yes! I thought it was very fun, very entertaining. I don't know one thing about the source material, so it might just be my ignorance about it, but from the product presented, from the movie itself, yes, this was a good movie. Unlike the Godzilla one that I'm still getting flack over. I don't know why people like that movie. Yeah, just got back. I think it hit all the emotional extremes that it was supposed to. Empathy for... Damn it, now I'm blanking on the character names. I hate it when I do that. Peter, yes. He had all the right extremes for Peter in the loss of his mother, the anger at being taken away from his home, although from some dialogue it's assumed he could have gone back at any time. The mystery and wonder of the possibilities of who his father is. I have not looked up the source material. I don't know who it is. I want to say Thanos, but that would be kind of stupid, and I don't think that's actually what it is, so no, I'm not going to say that. Well, I said it, but I meant it in a joking, not in serious manner. Zoe Saldana, if she is in Star Wars, that will be the nerd trifecta. Okay, not the nerd trifecta, but her and Karen Gillian in this movie together playing sisters is creating this great sci-fi, speculative fiction, fantasy congealment of greatness. Hell, Vin Diesel as Groot, that adds the Chronicles of Riddick into it, and Groot was awesome. I know Vin Diesel got some catharsis from his friend dying by playing this role, and he did a great job. I'm not a big Vin Diesel fan. I think a lot of his movies are bad, but I liked him in the Riddick movies. I like him in one other that escapes my mind right now. He was good in this movie. He is not a bad actor overall, I think. Just that he ends up in movies I end up not liking. Chris Pratt. I think I might have a new favorite actor. If he keeps performing like this, he's just going to be... He's shooting up the ranks between him playing Peter, Star-Lord. I said Star Child. All in my head. Star-Lord. Lego Movie. I got this yesterday. And between this movie and this movie, this is still my favorite movie this year that I've watched in theaters. Okay, I've watched 3 movies in theaters this year. It's not exactly a lot, but this is still the best movie I've seen all year. But Chris Pratt and the cast, the diverse cast, the good storytelling in this movie makes it a fair second. And odds are it's going to be the only 2 good movies I see this year. No, Rurouni Kenshin. Yeah, that was a good movie, but it wasn't a new movie. If I get to the Kyoto Fire sequel movie of Rurouni Kenshin this year, oh, please let that come out on DVD this year. That would make a 3rd. And I'm just rambling now. Back to... Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, all the things that are great about Guardians of the Galaxy. Rocky Raccoon. This movie had me laughing a lot, and a fair bit of the dialogue was from the interplays they had, and especially with, not Rocky, Rocket. The raccoon. It makes you feel for a CGI raccoon. See, this is why I think Marvel keeps winning. The narrative and emotional, while I think DC is trying to go for iconography and legacy with the heroes or challenging them. That's... Okay, I like Dark Knight Rises. I admit it has problems. I admit anything I like that's disliked by other people can have problems. Hell, I like the TriStar Godzilla movie. It's loaded with problems. I went over that. So that's still my policy. You can like stuff just that's bad. Just admit it has its flaws. You don't have to be super defensive over something. You can find your own faults in things like that too. Now, probably because I just saw it, that I think it's when I just see things, the flaws or the greatness shadows the opposing side. Like, if I see a movie and I immediately think, I dislike this, I don't look for the things that are good about it. And likewise, when I see things that I like, I subconsciously suppress the things I dislike about it. And I'm getting a few as I'm digesting the movie, such as the lack of overall lore. I mean, we don't know who the Novians are, we don't know who the Kree are, if you're not a fan of the comics. See, if you're a fan of the comics, you know the Kree and the Chitari, who were the invading force in the Avengers, are the same species. Yeah. I think since the Chitari are designed differently and the Kree are designed differently, it might be a noble class versus worker class, or mutated, since the Chitari are exclusively the servants of Thanos in the movie continuity, versus the Kree are mainline Marvel Universe and the Chitari are Ultimate Universe. They're Ultimate Universe counterparts. Or, because they're shapeshifters, they just have a battle form and a noble form. I don't know. That's the problem with this movie. You don't know. The mythos isn't really explored. It's enough to get a general moviegoer to, I don't know, pick up the comics, I guess, to get more of the exploration with the stories. I mean, the Hellboy movies did the same thing, I think. And those were good movies. I gotta say I like the first one a bit more than The Golden Army, but that's just me. Though The Golden Army was a good movie too. Yeah, I'm trying to think of else aside from the lore. You don't get why Ronan... Yeah, it's too bad they didn't get Jason Momoa to play Ronan, because that would have been not a trifecta, but it would have been adding into the character simile by adding Stargate in there. I'm getting off topic. Yeah, we know he's vengeful for past acts. I'm assuming a war. I believe they said something about a war, war bad. He got his family killed. His family has a grudge against these people. Oh, that was thousands of years ago. Why is he still angry? How is he still alive? We don't know. The mixtapes. In concept, legacy of a parent, treasured comfort from childhood, it works. Then you kind of wonder how it's still working. I mean, they're magnetic tapes. I had ones as a kid that no longer work as adults because constantly playing them means they kind of burn out. Although it's a good song selection. It's a very good song selection from those. And I liked I wouldn't say twist, but you could kind of see it coming in that, when you think back on it about the mixtape, in that it's his most treasured thing from his childhood because it was something his mother, who he lost. Yeah, so you can see that, and you can kind of see that the gift is the next mixtape. You can kind of see that. Ship design. I liked the ship. I really like the ship. I kind of like VTOL craft in general as a design scheme. And, futuristic VTOL design, it's efficient to get to takeoff velocities and set down in narrow areas for, like, shipyards and such. So it makes sense from a contextual design scheme, plus with the secondary jets that can be directed to propel thrust in a normal manner. Yeah, I can see that. Less so the ships that create the shield by linking up. Now, another good concept is just that from the design of the ships, it's kind of there are needle points, and then you create a bubble along its length. It's like, dude, you smash the needle, parts of the ship go down. And we see that in the movie. Sort of. In that they're creating this net with needle points, and you smash the needle points, and the ship blows up, and it goes down. So it would have made more sense had it been like Squid Arm shield. Like, you turn the ship around, you reorient the thrusters to point at the front of the ship, or, this is the front of the ship, this is the back of the ship. You twist the thrusters so the back of the ship can create the entire bubble. You bubble link the shields, and then you're hiding behind the shield instead of having your ship in front of the shield. And if you blow up the ship, then you lose parts of the shield. And that's at the climax. But I think, this is another thing in Marvel's favor. Everybody acts like people. It's like, no, you're going to be the God figure, and all the I am Jesus allegories. And there are some, like, Star-Lord is the son of this super ancient deity, so he can kind of harness the Infinity Gem for longer than any other type of mortal being, because he's a half-breed, and that makes him a chosen one, and he's son of a godlike entity. I am Jesus. But it comes at you they're not forcing it, they're keeping him as a realistic, relatable character, and that's one of the common DC Marvel contrasts. You can relate to Marvel characters, you look up to DC characters, and when you kind of bring the idol down to Earth, you kind of screw it up, and Man of Steel is an example of that. Although they could have gone a different route with that. I mean, they built up Batman as the iconography, and Rises stumbled a bit with it, but it worked through the first two. I'm not talking much about story, I'm just kind of spilling out my thoughts about the movie, and I already said something about Zoe Saldana. I don't like the Abrams Trek reboot movies. They are not Star Trek to me. I think they miss the entire point of what Star Trek is, because action scenes and lens flare, and oh my god, I can't look at this movie because it's so brightly lit. And don't even get me started on Khan. No. Don't get me started on Khan. But she's not a bad actress. I don't think anybody is a bad actress in the cast of the new Trek movies, so she did good in this, and you kind of get the multi-layeredness of her character. Is it Gamora? I want to say Gamora. I'm probably wrong about that. I'm going to look up the movie now, so I stop getting names wrong. Film. Gamora, yeah, I'm dead on that. We know nothing about her. We think she isn't going to be an assassin, or, helpful to the, cause that has to be turned from a thing through chance. No, she's already betraying them because she doesn't want things to die. And also she hates her father, who's not really her father, who is Thanos, who is not, like I said, not really her father. I think we give enough justification for why. Just that it seems counterproductive for Thanos to destroy her family and planet and then turn her into a living weapon and then expect anything else but treason from them. That is not making of good subordinates. Granted, Thanos is supposedly one of the titans of myth in the Marvel Universe, so like unto amoeba effect, I guess, but that doesn't mean they can't betray them and in scheming. And here's another thing that gets weird. Karen Gillian's character of Nebula, she's the same thing, except with cybernetics to do the living weapon thing. She's a living robot. And she hates Thanos, and she wants Thanos killed. and she's fighting Gamora, who wants Thanos killed. Why are they fighting each other over this? Why are they fighting each other over this? I mean, extremism. I mean, Ronan ends up. Am I saying that right? Ronan, yes. Wants to kill a lot of people. He wants the gem. He wants to kill these people, and when he gets the stone, he says he's going to be more powerful than Thanos. There is no guarantee that the gem and its power will be able to kill Thanos. So, you go for an unsure bet that will kill a bunch of people instead of allying with someone who doesn't want to kill you, will get this stone that Thanos wants, meaning you'll eventually come into not conflict, but you'll be a target of the one you want to kill, and you'll be searching for ways to kill Thanos. As in, officially. Realistically. Why are you fighting instead of just... Okay, she gets out of there before Ronan actually gets defeated, but he would have never gotten as far if she didn't play lackey, and I'm not really seeing why there was this conflict. They eventually want the same thing, except Gamora's more ethical, and Nebula doesn't have any... I hate the trope that she's more machine now than man removes the soul. It's my... If you've seen my reviews, I am a lover of I am a lover of the concept of, does this unit have a soul? I really like the idea of AIs being benign, and it's only through abuse from their makers, abuse from, things a real person would not take if they were comparatively done to them. I say comparatively because you don't do the same things to an artificial life form than you do to human. I mean, you can't make something synthetic feel pain the exact same way you can torture a human. I'm saying on comparable levels, the abuse is the same. And you don't abuse a sentient life form and then expect anything but, I will kill all of them, or as many as I can. I mean, sometimes it happens because of bad programming, or stuff like that, and okay, yeah, I can see that, but that's not really a sentient AI, because the sentient AI has the choice, the absolute choice in their actions. They can reason, they can negotiate, they can listen to see, they can make the decision to see... I'm going off topic. I hate that... Okay, Rocket the Raccoon pretty much had the same thing done to him in concept that Nebula had done to them. Massive cybernetic upheaval, destroyed life, made into less than whatever species she started out as, because Rocket's pretty much raccoon in body, and yet he's not... I think he's out for himself, pretty much, whereas Nebula's... Okay, Nebula's also out for herself, as killing Thanos is selfish, but I think of it as Rocket still has the conscience, I guess. He's not gonna, go out and... He values things, he values people, and yet he likely had more done to him than Nebula did. Rocket the Raccoon is not my favorite character, but I'm liking all the depth they kind of jammed in, and I don't think Nebula was developed a developed character like everybody else was, because you can see that she didn't need to do any of this, and there's no justification of she wanted to do it because that's who she is. It was like her actions felt a little shoehorned in, and it might make more sense if I read the source material, but yeah, this kind of thing, if you need to know the source material, you're kind of failing as a storyteller. I mean, you want more expansion, which can be found in the source material, which makes you want to learn more. That's a good thing about a movie. It makes you want to learn more about the universe. It should not be necessary to read it or do that stuff to get into the mythos. Especially since there's no dedicated thing and the comics are going to be different. So yeah, the villains, I think, are kind of a weak point. They're intimidating as hell. They're efficient and methodical, yeah. It's just there's not a lot of character depth. And you can't always have good villains. I know that. If they serve the purpose of the story. Doesn't mean they're not a faulty point. In fact, I think the minor antagonists got a bit more work. Udanta. That was interesting. That was very interesting. Originally hired to take Peter to his alien father. Decided not to, because, and to this day, makes Peter think that it was a random slave run. Wasn't. You don't learn that until the end of the movie, so there's this contrast of Udanta acting like the kid's father versus being despicable, sentient being by being this trapper, because he's out for himself and his group and their money, and yet he and his faction do good heroic acts. It's like there's this line that Peter uses to describe himself. He might be an asshole, but he's not completely a dick. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but yeah, that kind of addresses kind of pretty much everyone. They can be assholes, but they're not going to be intentionally. They're not going to intentionally not do something when people are going to die because of your actions. I mean, one of the trailers for it was a remake of Annie with Jamie Foxx and this little African American girl playing the role of Annie, which is not a bad thing in concept, but in the trailer they show Jamie Foxx's... Is it Jamie Foxx? I think it's Jamie Foxx. Character save the little orphan Annie from being run over because he was there and he had the chance, and that would be a very cruel thing to do, to have the capability to save her from being run over and doing nothing. That would have... And it's kind of the same thing. You have the moment to do something, and you might be getting something out of it. Udanta and his group get something out of it at the end. Not exactly what they wanted, but still something, and some people are inevitably going to be out for themselves for one reason or another. Everybody's going to be out for themselves, out for people they value over things else. But the great thing about our race, a lot of sentient races, is empathy and the capability to help out others we don't know in person. Because we want to feel that if we're ever in a bad situation, that someone can help us out of our ruts. And, the concept of, you get one, now pass it on. So I think that was kind of their altruistic, but getting something from being altruistic, was the view with the Ravagers. I'm not a fan of that name, mainly because it brings up the DC New 52 Ravagers. Thank you, Linkara. So yeah, they were well developed. as I said, we don't know much about the Novians, but we got a few good cameos. What's his name from? Curly topped. I don't know the guy's name. John C. Reilly. John C. Reilly. Good supporting thing with one of the cops that ends up helping save the day. Glenn Close as the leader of the Nova people. That was a good role. I think she had, it might be a bit too much screen time, but she was used well. Chris Pine was in this movie as an extra, and no, Chris Pine. Whoever plays Captain America, that's the guy. He made a cameo in this movie. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. I have not watched any of the Captain America movies. I know, on my list. It's a long list. He made a cameo. Trying to think. Benicio del Toro. No, wait, I'm thinking of the wrong Del Toro. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking of the wrong Del Toro. Never mind. But yeah, he plays a, what's the phrase? He plays this universe's variant of the Shadow Broker, I guess. A collector of, not exactly. Is a collector of odds and ends. I guess we can compare him to, I'm blanking on the actor's name. Who played the Black Market dude in Pacific Rim? I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. I just mentioned him. Guy who was Hellboy. This is going to bug me. Yeah, I hate it when I can't remember people's names. He plays a kind of similar role, which is how they learn about the Infinity Gems. Yeah. And the post-credit stinger was about him, and one of his collector's pieces, which included organic living beings and rarities, was Howard the Duck. Yeah, this stinger has made the rounds. I have seen the Howard the Duck movie. Not the reviews, the actual movie. It is bad. So, they were playing him as, whatever the detective's name in Sin City is. Grim and Gritty. I guess Grim and Gritty. He's not played, like, stupid or silly like the 80s movie was. I mean, I know the guy got a Razzie, which was undeserved for that movie because, you know, the rest of the movie was the problem, not the actual Howard the Duck, but it seemed like it was a more competent characterization, and he got less than a minute of screen time because he was the post-credits stinger thing. And if he's joining the Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that, I would not mind it. For the love of God, do not give us another Howard the Duck movie. I'm serious. That was horrible. Speaking of the stinger, it's been 10 Marvel movies now, people. There has been a post-credit sequence, a post-credit sting, a post-credit scene, a stinger in all of them. Are we at 10? I think we're at 10, or between 10 and 12. Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, Captain America, The First Adventure, Thor. I think that's all of the post-Adventures movies. Avenger, Iron Man 3, Captain America sequel, Thor the Dark World. I know there's one I'm missing. Guardians of the Galaxy. No, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, 10. All of them have had a post-credit scene. What is wrong with you people? Do you not want a tease at what's coming next? Why have you not learned? Well, I guess half of us have learned because half of the audience stayed. Speaking of, we were about 80% full of the capacity in the movie. It was the 2D movie. I cannot watch 2D movies, and I mean that in the literal sense. The type of 3D technology used in current movies, you know, they used to have the red, blue, red, green 3D that's no longer used. These days they use polarized lenses and take the movie slightly out of focus to create the 3D effect. Now, there's 10% of an audience that can't see. There's 10% of the audience that can't see this type of 3D. I can't see the 3D. I am one of that 10%. However, I am a fraction of that 10% that even that the polarized lenses do not work, and because of the just off-center blurring that's used for the 3D effect, it creates this strain where my eyes try to... It's probably compounded by the fact I can't see 2 inches in front of my face without my glasses. That due to the layer, my eyes try to focus and they overcompensate, and then they recompensate and overcompensate and and it just creates so much eye strain in about a minute that it renders me effectively blind. And I say effectively as in I can't look. I literally have to close my eyes and hold my head in my hands. It's so bad. And this was the only theater. This was the only, as in the theater complex, at the location where they have all these movies, this was the only theater that does not have 3D installed. Every other movie at that location was 3D. And not just Guardians of the Galaxy. Every other movie was set with 3D. I am not going to be able to go to the movies much longer, not because of a lack of funds, because going to the movies these days is ridiculously expensive, but because the mandatory technology for these movies will make it so I can't watch them until they're on DVD, Netflix, or bootlegged. Because I will not be able to see them, to watch them. Incidentally, fuck you, James Cameron, for bringing back 3D technology. I hate you. I hate Avatar. I hate I hate the movie The Last Airbender, like everybody else that likes the original Avatar series. I am indifferent towards Korra. Remember that for a future episode. I'm trying not to spoil too many details about the movie, because this is a good movie, you should go see it. I know there will probably be there have been other people who have vlogged this movie and told people to go see it that have spoiled more details. I'm usually a big spoiler of details. I'm not this time. Go see Guardians of the Galaxy. Later.